Thank you, Las Ciancorla. Minister, last week, An Taoiseach, in line with his elected mandate, represented Ireland, all of us, admirably when he met President Trump and the Taoiseach in Philadelphia and New York. However, the future of Irish-US trade remains under a cloud. The threat of a spiralling transatlantic trade war is the latest in a series of significant challenges to global trade and supply chains. But that is why the people voted for this government, to bring solutions and stability when those dark clouds are looming. And I hope all parties in this House and none recognise the need to work together constructively, as they did through Brexit, the majority of time, to protect that economic stability, jobs and livelihoods. I know that the Taoiseach will do everything in his power to protect Ireland, the EU and the US from tariffs. And with that in mind today, I'd like to speak about maximising other opportunities for trade, as I know he has been doing just this week with the Indian Foreign Minister. I'd like to focus on opportunities closer to home. In response to a more uncertain international environment, many companies around the world have embarked on reshoring or friend-shoring, and that is bringing supply chains, their sources back to or nearer to home. The same can apply to exports. In a world where the prospect of future tariffs is threatening confidence, many companies are looking to opportunities to grow exports to more secure trading partners. Last year, the US was a massive destination for Irish exports, valued at $72 billion, which must be protected. But the EU and Great Britain was an even bigger market, valued at over $103 billion combined. So I think it's a good time to ask, are we doing enough to leverage the opportunity of tariff-free trade to the EU single market and to the UK under the terms of the TCA? Whatever President Trump does with respect to Ireland to US trade, he cannot dent the fact that Ireland is favourable for US multinationals seeking to access the EU market, with a population which is a third larger than the US. Exporting to our EU single market should also be a no-brainer for Irish Indigenous enterprise, particularly our SMEs. Already, according to CSO data, the 97% of all firms in Ireland exporting to the UK are SMEs. However, research by Rockwood and Amorok has found that 34% of Irish SMEs have identified the need to further reduce customs requirements for exports to Great Britain as one of their top 3 asks of government. So, Minister, now is a time to look more to the EU and the UK. Let's mandate out export promotion agencies to focus in on maximising Irish exports opportunities to the EU and the UK. Let's more actively support our SMEs to get into EU and UK markets. We do a great job, but this can be enhanced. Let's run more trade missions to the EU and the UK. Let's give them the dominance and status of the current predominance of missions to further flung markets such as the US and Asia. Let's make the most of our reset relationship with the UK and the new Prime Minister to try to tackle costs and delays and barriers impacting transit and customs, and to champion initiatives such as the EU-UK veterinary agreement. Ireland has shown itself to be an economic success story in the face of global challenges, and I know the Taoiseach has taken on this role to continue that success. My point is today that we have to protect what we have with the US, of course, but also let's maximise relationships closer to home. Let's increase the status of our Irish brands, sectors and SMEs across Europe and the UK too. Thank you.
Oh my God.